The Madhya Pradesh High Court has taken a significant step towards recognizing the rights of women in live-in relationships by ruling that a woman living with a man for a considerable period is entitled to maintenance on separation even if they're not legally married. The ruling came as a response to a petitioner who challenged a trial court order requiring him to pay a monthly allowance of 1,500 rupees to a woman with whom he had been in a live-in relationship, even had a baby with. Now, in this progressive move, the judges emphasized that maintenance cannot be denied if there's evidence of cohabitation between the couple. The High Court cited the trial court's findings, which concluded that the man and woman had been living as husband and wife, and additionally, considering the birth of a child within that relationship, the court affirmed the woman's entitlement to maintenance. So is India finally accepting live-in relationships? To talk more about this, we're now joined by Zakia Soman, a women's rights activist, Karuna Nandi, Advocate Supreme Court, and Kapil Madan, Advocate Supreme Court. Thank you all for joining us. And Karuna, first to you, if you can just explain to us what does the law, Indian law, say about live-in relationships?
Well, Indian law at the moment is a bit, there are lots of divergent impetuses. For example, first, there is the fact that under the Protection of Domestic Violence Act in 2005, under Section 2F, domestic relationships in the nature of marriage are recognized as protected from violence. This could be economic violence, this could be mental or emotional violence, different kinds of violence, right? Which means that a woman then can apply for, if it is a relationship in the nature of marriage, which means that if there is a child, for example, right, which in this case it sounds like there is, then the woman in such an instance can apply for a right to residence, she can apply for a right to maintenance, she can apply for restraining orders should it be required, etc. There is also the fact that there are various slightly bizarre orders, some from UP, saying that, casting aspersions on people in these live-in relationships. Then there was this other attempt to, this UCC, I think from Uttarakhand, to require registration of live-in relationships on pain of criminal penalty.
That's right. In fact, we'll talk about that further. Yeah. Yes, and punishment if you didn't report your live-in relationship. But Zakia Soman, this High Court order and the recognition and the acceptance that maintenance must be given, though it was a live-in relationship and a child also involved. Your views on this were a progressive step, though a lot more left to do within society to make live-in relationships more acceptable?
Of course, you very rightly put it. It is a very progressive step, and it is a step forward, recognizing that a woman in a living relationship has equal rights, granted by the Constitution of India, and they cannot be negotiated. And it also recognizes the newer and newer forms of family, which are emerging in our country and all over the world. So, the kind of conservatism and vigilantism with which some sections of society view live-in relationships, I think it's, deeply problematic. And this judgment sort of supports the individual's right to privacy and right to choice and the freedoms of two adult Indians to enter into a live-in relationship and do it with, full dignity and without any element of shame, kind of quote-unquote shame that our society attaches to it. So I think this is a very progressive judgment. It's a step forward. And I really wonder, looking at the kind of provisions in the Uttarakhand Uniform Civil Code, which sort of, ostracizes a live-in relationship with the potential of, criminalizing it if it is not registered, how it will play out vis-a-vis that. So I would any day prefer, and I'm sure all women and even the men of India who believe in equality and who want their freedoms not to be interfered with will all welcome the judgment of the Madhya Pradesh High Court, rather than, looking to other some kind of regressive.
Right, and clearly in this
Yes.
case, the man didn't want to give the maintenance. He was, challenging the trial court order. 1,500 is what
Yes.
he's been asked to give, and
Yes.
even and involving a child as well.
It's yes.
Kapil Madan, your comments on this? What concerns do you have? And this, this goes a step forward in protecting women's rights.
Yes, so Gargi, I will say it unequivocally that it's a progressive step. It's a step in the right direction. But let's make our audience understand in what context this judgment was passed. So basically, this is not the first judgment on the issue. There was another judgment by the Supreme Court called the Velusamy, wherein the court reiterated that in order to give some sort of recognition to the live-in relationship, the parties should be staying together and they should be projecting to the public at large that they are, they are a couple for a significant period of time. So this was the test that was propounded already by the Supreme Court, and I think Madhya Pradesh High Court has taken the step in the same direction and has passed this judgment. Now, let me give another, perspective to think on it. So the issue of maintenance specifically in this case, came because the parties were at loggerhead. There was a disputed question of facts, whether there was marriage or whether there was not marriage in this particular case. The court noted that since in this particular case, there was a child that was born to the couple. So therefore, in that context, even if the, marriage strictly was not proved, even then the court took this, relationship, live-in relationship rationale that the Supreme Court came in the earlier judgment and passed this order. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but the parties should also, understand that this is not something that you can, use in every case. Now, tomorrow there could be a situation if there was a casual short-time cohabitation between a boy and a girl. That does not mean that the girl, gets right to maintenance by using this judgment. The test is that they should be cohabiting together for a significant period of time, and they should be portraying to the world, as their relationship akin to, a relationship between husband and a wife. So that's the test you need to meet. So, our viewers should be very careful while interpreting this judgment, because this does not mean that any short-term cohabitation will get them, or will, with the girl will entitle for, the relief which has been granted by the Madhya Pradesh.
That's right. Karuna, if you could tell us more about this. There's several, parameters or several things that the court looks at when it comes to this long-term cohabitation. In this particular case, yes, there was a child involved, and perhaps that's also, that also is seen as one of the reasons that the High Court granted this maintenance?
Couple of things, Gargi. Firstly, earlier I was correcting this channel the other way, saying that I'm not a senior advocate, and now I am a senior advocate. So now I'll request a correction.
All right, we'll change that, yes.
Look, I think as my friend just said, the test is multifold, right? The Puttaswamy judgment is more generally on privacy. There are more specific judgments. I think it was Indira Sarma and others on live-in relationships. The test is manifold. A child is very strong evidence. There may also, for example, be a joint bank account, evidence of pooled resources, holding yourself out to be a couple that is not just a girlfriend and a boyfriend, but two partners who are living together. So there's a test, that is manifold, right? And this has been, the Protection from Domestic Violence Act has been there since 2005. So that's there. But more recently, I think we've been seeing a very troubling trend. We've been seeing, for example, judgments castigating live-in relationships. There was a judgment, I think 2 days ago even, saying that a live-in relationship between parties of opposite religions could not be legitimized or protected by the court. Whereas actually what the court is called upon to do is protect the individuals, regardless of what relationship they're in, from violence, right? And protect their free choice. But In fact, what happened in that case is that the woman was sent to some kind of short stay home
Yes,
until the
in
two could get
Lucknow.
married.
Yes.
So, and we've been seeing some of these judgments coming out of the Lucknow High Court, the Allahabad and the Lucknow benches of the UP High Court, right? And this is a problem.
All right. So, moralizing, and we've seen often judges also making those kind of comments, and even the Supreme Court saying that you just go by the law. But Zakia Soman, so this is a welcome step, but clearly a long way to go. As Karuna was pointing out, this is the Madhya Pradesh High Court, but you've just had an incident in the UP High Court where they did not allow a couple to live in together, did not recognize it because they were from different religions. So, still a long way to go.
Yeah, certainly, because even the courts are known to come out with very surprising and shocking judgments, these days, especially when it comes to man-women relationships. And our society certainly, there are, of course, more and more women and men who have started, believing in equality in relationships, in interpersonal relationships, in sexual relationships, but at the same time, there is a kind of a vigilante mindset also in our society. And especially if the couple happens to be intercaste or interfaith, then all hell would break loose, as we have seen, there are news reports almost daily coming from different parts of the country. So the society has a long way to go. The society needs to recognize that our daughters are equal human beings, and they have as much
Right.
right to equality and to justice as our sons.
Right,
So,
and protection
beginning with the
and a
home
right
and
to.
beginning with the community and society and going up to the courts and public policy and governance, and especially the mindsets of those who are sitting in the government and those who are making
Right,
the
making
police,
the rules like the
the
UCC
administration.
in Uttarakhand,
Yes,
asking
yes.
live-in relationships to get permission. Final word to Kapil Madan as the only man here on this panel. Final comments from you. We're running out of time.
So, Gargi, I just, explained, for getting this kind of a release, you need to cross that threshold that I've explained earlier, that it should not be a casual cohabitation
Sure.
for a smaller period of time. Additionally, the girl will have to satisfy to the court that she is not in a position where she can, maintain herself, or she is not in a position where she can have the same standard of living which her live-in partner is able to maintain. So these are the additional threshold which the girl needs to cross in order to get the order of maintenance.
All right. Well, we'll have to end it there. Thank you all for joining us on the program.